Lewis's room smelled very, very familiar. That part of him lived on.
That'll be the peace pipe.
Dear Mrs. Finch, as Lewis's psychiatrist, I can understand your desire for an explanation. As I see it, the trouble began in January, shortly after we convinced your son to seek treatment for substance abuse. Newly sober, I believe Lewis first noticed the monotony of his daily life. He kept working at the cannery, but he withdrew part of himself. In our sessions, I saw the same behavior. His mind began to...
You guys gonna chop my own hand off?
wander. I asked him to describe it. He said he started small, imagining a labyrinth. He'd feel his way about. Then something moved. Bats. And toads. Things that have not names. He knew it was all in his head. But he took it very seriously. I had hoped he'd find himself. But he found something more. I worried about him then.
This is a little bit tricky doing both things at once.
Daydreaming at the cannery. I spoke with his boss. But he said Lewis had become a model employee. Methodical, tireless, focused. Like a whole new Lewis. So I let him go on. I even encouraged him. It seemed very promising at first.
Right, so what happened?
He told me he'd made a new friend.
Shenanigans happened. Like a dog.
On the edge of a city he named Lewis Topia. He built the city up slowly, brick by brick. Then he made musicians. And songs for them to play. He talked about starting a band. And he was always humming something. Every day his imagination grew stronger. He no longer spoke at the cannery, but his chopping was as reliable as ever. Then one day it struck him that all the cheering crowds, even the stones under his feet, were all in his imagination, so he could do whatever he wished. He held an election for mayor, and he won. They begged him to stay, but his mind was already wandering. It became a game for him. He'd conquer a city, then immediately push on. New Louisville. St. Louis. He started drifting away from our reality. Minneapolis. Until one day he forgot to go home from the cannery. Even as his mother pleaded with him, part of Louis kept sailing on.
So basically what? He was mad and worked himself
In
into the
Louisburg,
ground?
he heard rumors of a handsome queen. The queen was on her own quest for
Sinister serpents.
sinister serpents.
Yeah, you get to choose how it's going to go.
He followed the sound of her
It's the sound of
Electric
electricity.
His chase led him to a golden palace east of the sun and west of the moon. Even then, his logic remained sound. He knew the world was all in his imagination.
I can see why.
But he was so proud of having created it.
There we go.
In his own eyes, he'd become something greater than a king.
What? A god.
For someone who'd never known success in the real world, I think it was overwhelming. And then it struck him. that the real Lewis was not the one chopping salmon, but the one climbing the steps of a golden palace. My imagination is as real as my body, he told me. It was hard to argue with him.
Oh, it's back to reality.
He began to forget the world we know. I think it pained him to remember Lewis, the cannery worker. He began to despise the man with a royal contempt. I still thought I could save him. Even after he said he was being crowned king over all the lands of wonder. The palace would be packed with his companions.
All hail Lewis,
Including the wise
of the
Calico
Wonderland.
who'd insisted on inviting him. His queen waited, holding his crown. There was only one thing left to do. Bend down his head.
And then he did.
And the rest I think you know.
What the hell?
Mrs. Finch, your son was a kind man who will be missed by all of us who knew him.
Emily Nuff.
My brother was really cool. I wish you could have met him.
Not many left to go now. Right. Where to now? Let's continue, shall we?
On the way back from Lewis's funeral, my mom told me to start packing.
Why?
She waited until the day before we left to tell Edie. I'm not sure if she wanted to make it easier or harder. I wish we'd stayed.
Why do you wish
But I
you stayed?
understand why we left.
Well, I don't. Why? Tell me.
My mom ended up leaving everything behind.
That's maybe something really bad must have happened then.
What happened that night had been coming for a long time.
What happened? You've been hinting all
Maybe I should have come
bloody...
sooner.
Maybe.
But it had to end one way or another.
Well, what are you gonna do?
All
Kill
that's
yourself?
left now was to tell you about that
Nah, I don't
last
think so.
night.
She's pregnant, isn't she? Edith.
That whole last day, Edie just watched us pack and didn't say a word. Until supper, when she raised her glass and said,
"To our final night together, and all our final nights apart."
Grandma, you know what I said about alcohol. Some of your medications are very
Edith,
specific.
I left a present for you in the hallway. Why don't you go open it? The grown-ups have to argue now.
I'm sorry, you're right. We're all leaving tomorrow. Let's just enjoy our last...
I'm not leaving.
Edith, you're excused.
They all but refused to go.
the power had been shut off that morning, but Edie always had plenty of candles. When my mom sealed the library, I don't think she knew about the other entrance. Or that Edie had a key to it.
That thing you're afraid of isn't going to end when you leave the house. Edith has a right to know these stories.
My children are dead because of your stories. I think it's best if Edith and I leave tonight.
Alright.
We'll have the nursing home send a van for you in the morning. Okay?
Dear Edith, there's so many stories I wish I could tell you, but there's only time for one. This is about what happened on the night you were born. That night, the tide went way, way out. It was the first and last time I ever saw the old house aground. There'd been an earthquake out in the middle of the ocean. They called it the lowest tide in 1,000 years. God, it smelled awful. You know, I've seen that house every day of my life. But I never thought I'd go back to it. When the fog rolled in, I lost my way. I got turned around. I started seeing things.
So you saw it there.
Things I'd
Well, it was
forgotten
shot
had
and was
ever
killed by them.
existed. But when I saw them, they felt like old friends. That night, a lot of things came back to me. Or maybe I came back to them. Things I can't explain, but that I need you to try and...
Edith, what are you doing in here?
It's mine!
Edith!
Mom, you're gonna rip it! Let go! I kicked and screamed, but Mom dragged me to the car. I never saw Great-Grandma Edie again. The next morning, the van came to pick her up, but she was already gone. After that, we moved around a lot. We both tried to make the best of it. A few years went by. My mom didn't like to talk about it. But she started getting sick a lot. The rest happened pretty quickly.
Alright.
She got better for a while, and then she didn't. And then I was alone. The last Finch left alive. Until I found out about you. I'm still not sure what to tell you about all this.
Well, please hurry up, because I ain't
If we
got a
lived
clue.
forever,
Really?
maybe we'd have time to understand things. But as it is, I think the best we can do is try to open our eyes. And appreciate how strange and brief all of this is. This journal was supposed to be for you. But now I hope you'll never see it. I just want to meet you. And tell you all these stories myself. But I guess if you're reading this now, things didn't work out that way. This is where your story begins. I'm sorry I won't be there to see it. It's a lot to ask, but I don't want you to be sad that I'm gone. I want you to be amazed that any of us ever had a chance to be here at all. Good luck.
Oh dear, everyone dies today in this game, don't they? Oh, so that's it then. Yeah, so I guess we'll just let it end, if it is the ending. I know it was, well, everything ends, yeah. Well, that was really, really quick. Like, really quick. I probably should have live streamed it, but it would have been probably a lot easier. Yeah. Mind you, soon I am going to be investing in an eye toy. So, I don't know, maybe when I get to 50 subscribers, I'll start to use it. Yeah. 50 subscribers, and then I'll start doing visual casts on the videos. Not that, you know, anyone wants to see what I look like, but, you know, it'd be interesting just to see my reactions, because I do pull some weird faces during games, especially when it amazes me or freaks me out, you know. But though it was short, and I may have said before it was something like £7, I've got a feeling I only paid like £3 for it. So in terms of what I actually bought, it was a decent story game. It was. It was interesting, you know, doing some of the flashbacks, you know, turned into a cat, you know, then an owl and a shark, you know, flipping over, you know, everything just to get into the ocean. Yeah, it's been interesting. I'd probably say visually that my favourite part was probably the kite part, where you picked up all the objects and made it follow you around and then bashed into the tent. But if I've learnt anything from this game, and I hope you take it with you as well, is that, guys, never, ever, ever get with a female with the last name Finch. You'll only be destined for heartache and tragedy. So always remember that. And girls, if your last name is Finch, change it, never tell anyone. So yeah. Well, I know what I'll do. For my next series, I'm going to download a game that I tried to download last week, but I had a bit of problems with the internet. And it's Life is Strange. You know, as far as I'm aware, it's been out a while. A game that's been put into 5 episodes. Again, another story-based one with a different type of weirdness. I have played the first episode, but I will replay it for YouTube purposes, just so you can get, you know, a feel of what it's like. It's made by a company called Square Enix, as you all know, made the series Final Fantasies, among others. But you know, that's what I know them for, and amazing games. So that is probably going to be the next series. I am still doing Ark. It's just I took a little bit of time off, you know, to reacquaint myself with what makes me me, and it's computers. I don't know why I tried to, you know, find something else to do. This is something I like. Replay a story, you know, so you can do the separate parts now. I miss people, and did I? K. No, got everything. So yeah, that's the end of this game. What Remains of Edith Finch, which, you know, I've got to the end. We all know. It's just whatever is left desiccated in a coffin. What's left of her, and well, I know technically her son as well. So there will be another game, deeper exploring the Finch family line. Well, that's what I'm hoping. So I really hope the people who made this game are proud of what they've done, and I hope they continue to keep making it. I've been UK Spira, thoroughly enjoyed this game. I will give it a solid 8 out of 10. So remember, if you want to be made aware of any notifications of my videos, please subscribe and turn the notification bell on. I've been UK Spira, and have a nice day.